Just a Song at Twilight by Lesley Devall. Gray stands on the roof tiles of Ashbury Manor, looking over the autumn fields to the lake. He can't believe it's 40 years since he was last here. They called it the last Edwardian summer now, the last of peace, and his last perfect summer, 1914. Sunset tangles with gathering mist and obscures his vision, blurring his perception of distance. As the outside world recedes and the mist floats closer, he steps back from the parapet. He'd been warned how bad the house was, but he hadn't believed it. In his dreams, and in the memories he allowed himself, it was full of life, merry laughter ringing through its angles and staircases. During the day, guests and family walked a tight schedule of tennis, picnics, boating, tea time and changing for dinner. At night, illicit lovers stalked the corridors, a candle flame cupped in their fingers. The estate agent who gave him the key had told him to take a torch and let himself in. She wasn't going back there, not at dusk anyway. When he'd opened the front door, the house exhaled damp on a long sighing breath, and Gray paused, gathering his resolve, fighting off the one memory he couldn't endure. In the entrance hall, plaster flakes whirled like snow and drifted in corners. Leaving a trail of footprints, he walked towards the staircase, ignoring the downstairs rooms. On the first floor, in a corridor thick with spiderwebs, he paused, listening. The music was barely there. It was like a radio playing in a distant room, playing a scratchy, wind-up gramophone. On the edge of his hearing, the melody he tried never to hear lifted through the house and would no longer be ignored. Memories came with it and would not be denied. He remembered that summer. He was 16 and the world was full of sunshine, boats on the lake and the leaf shadows dancing, parties on warm summer nights, looking down from his window at guests stealing kisses on the rose-perfumed terrace, velvet and silk against women's skin, furs and pearls, lace and diamonds, the discreetly managed affairs, and always Coletta, her straight dark brows and her laughing mouth, candlelight along the angle of her cheekbone, grey eyes looking into his with deep promise, a sexual echo of his own heightened desire. She was a married woman, a young mother, exciting, forbidden. He was virgin still, and she craved the feeling of awakening him. Their dalliance was a delicious building of amorous chess moves, and to be alone required careful planning. That's why disaster happened. The music filled the air along the landing to her room. Subtly it shifted, became slowly louder, and he heard her voice singing along, clear and bright, and as always tugging at his soul, pulling him towards her. Once in the dear dead days beyond recall, when on the world the mists began to fall. It had been misty that day. They'd thought it a friend, hiding them from the others as it did. They could hear them, groups of rowers and rowed, each with a picnic basket, heading for the other side of the water, calling to each other, waiting for the sun to burn away the fog. He and Coletta in the smallest boat, her tiny daughter asleep in a Moses basket, tucked snugly in the bow. In the middle of the lake, in the heart of the fog, he'd shipped the oars and begged a kiss. She'd laughed at him and glanced around, picking up her skirts and moving carefully to the rower's seat. Their kisses were deep, taking his breath, taking away the world and his self-control. He had no awareness of her descent until she began to struggle. Shocked by his own actions, his apology was immediate, but she was already moving away, too quickly, not carefully, tipping the boat. And in the dusk where fell the firelight gleam, softly it wove itself into our dream. Coletta's voice, not from her room now, but trailing the corridor. Gray follows, as he would have followed her anywhere, his heart full, knowing where she was taking him. On the roof, her song continued. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, climbs the crumbling parapet. Still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song. Just like Coletta, so many years ago, distraught for her tiny daughter, he falls from the roof of Ashbury Manor into the mist.